consultant and trainer. Today's session will be for 1.5 hours, including question and answer session at the end. So, without any further delay, I would like to invite Sri Abhishek Ranjanji for keynote address. Sir, over to you, please.
Thank you, Shikaji, and hope I'm audible loud and clear. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, participants. And I thank the organizers to have me here. And it is my great moment to be present over here on the course on financial modeling of the solar power plants. As we know, our country has a very steep target for renewable energy, and solar almost forms about more than 50% of the same. 500 gigawatt is the target. So therefore, financing of solar and therefore the financing modeling of the solar plants becomes very important. Now we are moving away from the days of the plain vanilla solar or plain vanilla wind towards a construct called renewable energy based round the clock power. The idea is to replace the entire thermal or coal. The competition is with coal. So why I'm giving you these backgrounds is because those points or assumptions basically will matter the most when you do the financial modeling. Now, the basics of the financial modeling, what are the constructs, etc., would be told to you by our facilitator anyway. But what are the broader assumptions as far as industry is? So, for example, Renew is bidding and doing the financial modeling. What are the broader constructs which are into play when you do the modeling? It's more than an Excel model. Basically, the renewable energy company started as the financing company. So if you see, what happens is when you get your project funded, debt funded and equity funded initially, this is not for the entire 25 years. Gone are the days. So those were the case studies for the cost plus basis plants. So what happens is in this kind of construct, maybe within 2 years, 5 years, depending upon the construct of the tender, the projects are refinanced, maybe debt financed or equity financed. So when you do the solar modeling, or for that matter, any RE modeling, we have to factor into the kind of returns these projects would bring in when such refinancing is done. So the cost of capital becomes very, very important factor in the whole modeling episode. Now, if a solar that we are producing right now is having a must-run status, number one. Number two, you need to have certain banking certainty also. Why? Because if you don't have a bankable PPA, you don't have a good cost of capital or lower cost of capital being given to you, depending upon your credit rating, your credit rating and the credit rating of the project. So therefore, that also matters a lot in the financing. Now, what are the other basic parameters that are being taken care of when you do a kind of financial modeling for the solar utility scale solar, for example? One is a very accurate data for solar irradiation and generation from whatever sites you are, basis not only the current or historical data, but also what is the exact accurate projections in the years to come, 25 years. Now, apart from that, the operations part of it also. For example, there is something called deviation settlement mechanism applicable to the solar as well as any other RE plant for the CRs. So the terms and conditions related to over injection or under injection, etc., also matter most. So DSM regulations have been recently modified, amended by Honorable CRC. So those parameters have to be modeled. So forecasting and scheduling, F&S activity of solar also plays a very, very important role when you do financial modeling. Now, apart from your solar profile and your operational challenges, what matters most is what are the kind of risks you are going to undertake, and then how it is being apportioned, who is bearing that risk. So what I'm saying is will make you a sense when you know that the solar tariff has even fallen to 1.99 rupees a unit. And even after imposition of the BCD, the recent tariff which was discovered, one of the SECI tenders, MSEDCL, I think, was 2.17. Okay, there are certain tenders where the solar tariff went as high as 2.55. How it matters? Now, the way it matters is, for example, in solar, there are very few slides in the country where the CUF is very, very good. So 21% or more than that, those sites are limited. That is one very important parameter when you do the modeling. Second is, who is doing the land acquisition? What is the rate at which you are acquiring the land? And third is the power evacuation. So that is the most important parameter. If you are bidding for a particular project today, and you are having some kind of land acquisition, some plans in place, but the CTU is not coming up over there, there are going to be delays. If there is a delay in commencement of the CTU or LTA, that is having a bearing on the commercial applications and viability of the project, because the sooner the returns are coming to the project, the equity IRR is better. So if you are delaying it, suppose you are going to be ready yourself in 18 months, but the CTU is taking maybe 24 months or so to take, commercialize the long-term access. So 6 months you are losing the revenue. That matters a lot compared to 6 months toward the end of the 25 years. So these upfront 6 months matter a lot in the equity IRR. So normally the industry operates on the equity IRR of about 16 to 20%. Today the industry in India, for example, industry, and you have a lot of foreign financing also available, investments also available in the RE sector. Now this equity IRR expected return will depend upon, if at all it is going to be accruing to you, depends upon multiple factors. One is the input cost for the entire solar hardware. Second is upon what is the construct of, say, for example, land EPC. Third is operational parameters in terms of the DSM and grid code regulation. So when you talk about upfront cost, say, for example, today, it could be around anywhere between the range of about 4 to 4.5 crores per megawatt solar. What makes the most of it? So 50% of the same is due to the panels, and around 20% would be EPC cost. And financing or the interest, IDC, etc., would be at least 10%. Now, if you talk about such breakup, the panel cost becomes very, very important. Today, you would have seen the imposition of the BCD from 1st April 2022. And this is to incentivize the domestic manufacturing of the solar. So as of now, the domestic manufacturer has not picked up. So what is happening is called tolling arrangement. So tolling arrangement is being used for supplying the panels as on date till the time the manufacturing capacity in our country picks up. Maybe in another 1.5 to 2 years, much of the capacity will pick up. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is the risk apportionment becomes very, very instrumental. For example, in Gujarat, when you had a tariff of 2 rupees, or in Rajasthan, you had a tariff of 1.99 rupee. You had a good credit rating, discount, which was there, the off-taker assuring you. B, they had offered the piece of land within their own state, along with the STU connectivity. So there was no power evacuation risk and the power payment risk. And then apart from that, you had the inherent capabilities of the developer. So what kind of, at what rate the financing it could raise, that was also mattering the most. So therefore, you had those kind of tariffs in terms of 1.99 and 2 rupees. Even after imposition of the BCD, we have seen tariffs not rising very fast. So 2.17, for example, as I told you. So that is the amount of my 1720 paisa BCD impact as of now. But then we would see some kind of stabilization of the tariff within the same range, even after the domestic capability and capacity comes up, because we'll be still importing silicons and wafers, for example. So that will still be imported. So instead of assembling here, we'll be manufacturing panels and then assembling. But those raw materials will still be imported. So therefore, there would be certain kind of pressure on and dependence on the international prices, international market. So what I'm saying is we should not expect the price or the tariff should not fall below, say, 2.2, 2.3 rupees a unit in the near future. And of course, it should not, and it will not go beyond 3 rupees per unit. Ex-bus I'm talking about. So this is the ex-bus tariff with 21% around CUF. but we expect to see more improvement in the CUF. So better when we talk about 21% and even going up to say 23, 24%, that becomes a very important thing. And the CUF can be improved through overloading. So normally 30 to 40% overloading, so DC to AC side, is being practiced to ensure that the CUF mandates are adhered to. Otherwise, there are huge penalties in SECI tenders or otherwise also. So this oversizing also helps in ensuring the firmness of the profile. That is very important because going forward, it's not only about the CUF, it is also about the firmness of profile in terms of the megawatt. So in a nutshell, what I will see, and I hope that you are going to get a lot of exposure in Excel sheets in terms of risk. What I'll suggest the participants is to focus on more on risk apportionment metrics. So you should be more focused on what risk, who's bearing, what is the cost of the risk, and what is the impact. When you do that, you will be very much, it will be very much easy to understand the modeling because the rest of the modeling is simply P&L and balance sheet and cash flow, etc. That is not much. So you need to focus on who is bearing what kind of risk, what is the kind of solar profile, what is the accuracy of the data. That becomes very, very important. And then what are the operational parameters in terms of regulatory parameters, grid code. And the third is about the land and evacuation. What is the certainty of the same? So otherwise modeling is fairly simple. And sensitivities, I'm sure you would be you will be taken through sensitivity of the interest rate or maybe the input cost, taxes and duties, as well as availability of land, delay in the construction of the CTU, power evacuation, etc. What is the impact on the tariff and as well as equity returns? So I wish all of you all the best for the course. And if you have any questions at this point, happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your address containing valuable information on the subject. So, any questions? Participants can raise their hands and also comment their question in the chat box.
Hi, good afternoon. Sir, are there any incentives provided for power purchase? I mean, the consumers who are taking renewable energy for this new hydrogen projects, green hydrogen, national hydrogen mission that's been boasted by the Ministry of Power. So are there any incentives for consumers who want to, let us say, a 200 megawatt peak capacity plant, they want to make it captive to themselves by having a stake of more than 50%. So for such consumers, are there any incentives?
Yes, so you're talking about the group captive or otherwise captive RE stations. So there are incentives available in terms of, for example, when you go for such plants, you will naturally go for an open access. Okay, so you would not like to purchase the power from your respective distribution licensee, though you are going to wheel the power through it, but you will not be charged the retail tariff. So probably that's what your question is. So yes, there are open access charges waiver. There are three kinds of charges. One is additional surcharge, another is cross subsidy surcharge, and third is the wheeling charges. So if it is a captive plant in Delhi, for example, I think as early as January this year, complete waiver was available for captive plant. So you have to have there are two conditions to be fulfilled. One was 26% stakes in the plant of that captive consumer. And third is 50% of the energy has to be consumed in an annum per annum by the same beneficiary. Okay, so that makes it group captive or captive plant. So then you had 100% waiver of the open access charges for this. But recently it has been
Which is approximately 2.5 to 3 rupees or?
Yeah, it depends up from state to state. So in Delhi, it will be about 2.5 to 3 rupees.
Okay.
Yes, but now it has been limited only up to the because these are obligated entities. These consumers are obligated; they have to meet their RPO targets. So up to the meeting of their RPO targets, this benefit is limited to. Beyond that, they'll have to pay the open access charges. That's what the position of Delhi. This situation will vary from state to state.
It depends on the grid code of that specific state.
Yes, regulations of that state.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other question? So,
This is Tulsidhar again. The other question is for floating solar power generation. Of late, that's trending, and basically, I am from Mekon. We deal with consultancy in steel plants which have a large reservoirs. So, as you were saying, around 4 to 4.5 rupees for solar. What about the floating? Can you give a thumb rule or a cost for floating solar power generation?
Yes, Tulsidhar. So you are from Mekon. I believe you are based in Ranchi.
Yes, yes, right.
Right. So I studied at that place actually. So I had my schooling there anyway. So yes, I know there are a lot many reservoirs and floating solar is the order of the day. But then if I tell you there are multiple floater design floating in the market today. What are the you can make a note of it. One is CLTR, CNT, it's a French company. Another is Swimsol, which is an Austrian company. Third is Ocean Sun, which is a Norwegian company. Okay. So you make a note of this, you Google it, you will get to know. By the way, the floater which Ocean Sun is offering is at least 1/3 the price. It is cheaper compared to the other two. Okay, because the nature of the floater design. Just Google it, you will find out the nature of the floater design. It's a shape of lotus, you know, you have seen the lotus leaves, right? Just floating on the.
Sir, I am pretty well aware of the floats and the design of floats, and of course we have contacted certain parties in India as well. There's one party in Visakhapatnam. Two IITians have started it, and they have recently the NTPC Ramagundam and NTPC Simhadri in Vizag. They have supplied this floating solar power generation of around, let us say, 31 megawatt and 72 megawatt respectively. So we are in touch with them, and they are far cheaper than Sale Terre or Thomson or these Australian, Norwegian companies. So with respect to them, when we discussed, they were saying around 4.5 to 5 rupees. So I was little surprised ki why is it so similar with the land-based solar power, and so I was asking, taking a reference from you, what could be the thumb rule or the cost of floating solar power?
See, 4.5 to 5 rupees per unit cost is what they are saying, or crores per megawatt? What is their quoting?
Crores per megawatt.
4.5 to 5 crores per megawatt. So
Yeah.
yeah, 4.5 crores per megawatt could be very comparable, yes. But then there could be further reduction into it. For example, when I talk about Ocean Sun, so what is the component of it? You should get into the BOM or BOQ. So it should come down to below 4 rupees or 4 crores per megawatt in Indian scenario, because India, most of the components, including the panels, etc., are now being manufactured in the country. So if you talk about CLTR and all their floaters, you would have seen, you are very much aware what is the kind of design they have. That kind of design requires a lot of depth and anchoring mooring requirements. The floating, because the reservoir volume or reservoir height is also fluctuating if it is in a reservoir, and that makes it more costly. Then you'll have to go into the BOQs of the same. Now, when you talk about the design, the kind of companies you are talking about, it's also about the scale of manufacturing. So it can come down to below 4 rupees or 4 crores per megawatt as well, and further below. Now, if you talk about, it's not only about the capital cost, Tulsidharji, it's also about the retail tariff, because these kind of plants, especially the design in which the floaters are there, just like floaters, the panels are touching the water, I mean, through a 1 millimeter thick membrane. So therefore, there is a cooling. So even if it is sitting at a parallel to the water surface, we have seen there is an improvement in the yield by at least 10%, and which far more offsets the loss in yield due to the decline in the inclination of the panels with respect to the latitude of the particular location. Okay, so what I'm saying is the COF is also better in such kind of solars, not all floater design, and therefore the overall tariff, you should focus on tariff. So the 2.5 rupees tariff, ultimately that is the thing that is going to be of matter most to you. You can achieve similar kind of tariff there, slightly higher as of date, but yes, you can achieve less than 3 rupees per tariff also per unit.
Okay, thank you so much.
But please be very cautious about the quality of the products also. So see whether they are giving the 25 years warranty and it is going to be having that kind of, because the inverters, the micro inverters, the wires, etc., which are there in the water, after a year or two, you may have a lot of O&M requirements. So you should also see what kind of O&M cost they are offering, not only the capex.
Okay, okay. And the clients basically, let us say there's a steel plant which is having a large reservoir. And these guys, they say that we'll give you the reservoir, you give me the power. And they want to go for a PPP model or BOM model, build, operate, and maintain. Or so how will it work out?
So it will work out like for example, they are purchasing power from you. They are giving you a reservoir, fine. But if at all it is a captive plant to them, then it doesn't make sense because then you'll have to have a tariff. But if they are saying, okay, out of this X number of units, you are free to sell Y number of units, and then I don't want to pay you anything, you assume that you are getting it through the tariff or rental of the reservoir, then it makes other sense. There are two kinds of business model. One is captive, another is third party sale. So if they are enabling third party sale, it makes sense to see what is the play between the rental for a reservoir as well as third party sale returns or yield that you're getting it through open access, for example. So that way it will work. You have to see in both the manners.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Shri JP Singh ji, solar consultant and trader, for the presentation. So I request you, sir, to kindly start with your presentation now. Over to you, please.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Shikhaji?
Yes, sir.
First of all, very good afternoon to all the participants and a very warm welcome extended to all the participants. It's wonderful to see you all of here. And thank you so much, Central Board of Irrigation and Power, for conducting this session. It's wonderful to see that a lot of enthusiasm have shown by the participants for registering for this program. I was listening to Abhishek Ranjan ji, and it is such a pleasure and honor for all of us that Ranjan ji is here. I have met Ranjan ji 3 years ago when he was with BSES and he was handling all the operations of BSES in a very efficient manner. So when I was listening to Ranjan ji, I felt that he has actually eased my job by setting up very right context, because whenever we are doing financial modeling, what we intend for simplifying the complexity of the cash flow to the best simplest form. Second thing, we look for the forecasting and scheduling of the commodity, which is power here. And then we look for the assessment of the risk. And also we look for the applicable interventions of policies and regulations. So when I was listening to Ranjan ji, what I realized that he has given a fair enough example for all the four important parameters to set the context very appropriately. Thank you so much, Ranjan ji, for your setting the context and enlightening the participants for the depth of the need of financial modeling. It is not only about what incoming and what outgoing is happening, what are the risks associated with it, how the policies or the regulations intervene or the interventions are affecting the financial model. Thank you so much, Ranjanji, for setting up the context.
Thank you, sir.
As we begin this session, so when we intend for the financial modeling of any solar power plant, I wish to share with my participants here that I have tried to design this program to the best of the simplest form I could do. What my intention is that a participant should get the perspective of all the fronts, as mentioned by Ranjanji, that he should be aware about what is CUF. There could be some participants who are not aware about the CUF, which is capacity utilization factor. There could be some participants who are well equipped with the knowledge of the solar. And there are some other things like when we are talking about the financial world, there are terms like NPV, IRR, profitability index, simple payback period, ROI. Again, there could be some participants who are well versed, but there could be some participants who need their basic brush up for all these parameters. So what I have designed this program in such a way that we will cover the basics for all the financial side and the solar side to the best of the possible simplest form. And then we will gradually move forward to do the financial modeling by understanding the various parameters. And we will begin with the small steps. And then gradually we will develop the complex financial model. My idea is, since whenever we are talking to any engineer, what I have understood in my career, that engineers are always hesitated to talk about the financials and talk about the legal things, because solar projects also requires the PPA, power purchase agreements, and PPA के बारे में जब हम बात करते हैं तो we say like lot of legal language is there, but in reality after working in the solar domain, what I have realized that if we develop our skills, if we develop our knowledge, an engineer can also contribute a lot in the development of the financial modeling and in the development of the power purchase agreement, because a lot of inputs are actually getting channeled through the engineers only, because an engineer can comment best on the CUF, an engineer can comment best on the technical viability of the project. Lot of things are in terms of evacuation, in terms of O&M, all those things contribute towards the risk assessment also. So what I'm sharing here is that I have tried to keep this program so that we cover the holistic, and we move forward from small step to the smaller example to little bit bigger example, and then we finally getting into the complex example. And for the sake of simplicity, I have जो बड़ा बड़ा शीट होता है एक्सेल में, या जो बड़ा बड़ा बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स शीट्स होता है, आई हैव broken down those sheet into pieces so that we can review each piece, and then we can gain the knowledge of each piece, and then we can move it in a way that we combined all those things to get the larger picture. So this is the idea. So I request all the participants to keep this session very interactive, because I believe that if there is any question which can be striked right away, those should be cleared. And if there is any question which needs some time to park to it, we can park those questions. But I encourage all the participants to please share whatever they wish to ask for, so that we can take the maximum queries. And one more thing which I request all the participants, since we are now into the virtual world, and virtual world has some advantages and some disadvantages also. So I request all the participants to kindly be attentive, because all the things which we are going to share now is actually arranged in a very sequential manner. So if we miss one thing, so the probability is that we might not be able to grasp the further things in a very clear manner. So I request all the participants to be very attentive. So with this, I request all the participants to be attentive, and let's begin the session. So Shikhaji, I'm just going to share my screen. So are you able to see my screen, Shikhaji?
Yes, we can see.
It is financial modeling.
Yeah, why financial modeling? And you can make it in slideshow mode.
Yeah, I'm just making it. Wonderful. So, so when we are talking about, I just start the session here. So when we are talking about the financial modeling, so what we are talking about, why financial modeling? First of all, the why part should be very clear, that why do we require the financial modeling, and at what point we might require the financial modeling. We are, Shikhaji, there are some people who are waiting in the lobby. So could you please let them in? Okay, great. So when we are talking about the financial modeling, why do we need financial modeling? There could be many instances in your working area where you require the financial modeling. So one of the possible example is that we are looking for the plant expansion. A very appropriate question was happening between Tulsidhar ji and Ranjan ji, that the one party is offering to the another party is that we are wishing to use your reservoir to set up a solar power plant, and how the transaction is going to happen. So there we need a financial modeling to assess how many units can be kept by the first party and how many units can be given for the third party sale, or if how many units can be kept by the first party and at what price. All those things require some sort of financial modeling. So what could be the other example? Whenever we are selecting an equipment, it could be possible that we are having an old machine and we are looking forward to get a new machine. At that particular time, we might need an equipment selection, and on the basis of their ROI, on the basis of their financial modeling. Whenever we are doing something, whether to make it on lease or buying thing, nowadays a lot of emphasis is given on one can have the rental option. One can live on the rent basis and can use their investment or use their capital money to invest in the market for the higher returns. So that is again an example of financial modeling, because the risk assessment need to be done. And then when we are replacing the equipments, or whenever we are trying to do the cost reduction, let us say we have one production process which is costing us 1 rupees per unit, and the other production process which is costing us 1.5 rupees per unit. But the other option is the machinery cost is quite cheaper in the other option. So we need to do the financial modeling there also to assess what is our production cost and what is our machinery cost and how we are going to get a larger profit. So cost reduction also requires a financial modeling. Now, when we require the financial modeling, what are the two major broad categories? The two broad categories are screening decisions or the preference decisions. So when we are talking about the screening decisions, we are talking about there could be a project which is meeting some preset standards of acceptance. What does it means? That we have some standard. Let us say my rule is that IRR, as Ranjan ji was mentioning nowadays, that IRR is about 16 to 20%. Whether my project is giving me 20% IRR or not. So when I do a financial modeling, my screening decision could be like this: ये प्रोजेक्ट मुझे 20% IRR दे रहा है, it means that project is acceptable for me. This is my preset standard to have 20% IRR. Then the second kind of category could be preference decision, selecting from among several completing courses of action. Let us say someone is offering you two solar power plants, plant A, plant B. Plant A is giving you 18% IRR. Plant B is giving you 20% IRR. Which plant you would like to take? Definitely you would like to take plant B because it is offering you 20% IRR. So what you have done, you have made your decision on the basis of the preference, and preference is governed from the financial modeling. Now, whether when we are doing the screening decisions or the preference decisions, when we are doing the screening decisions pertain to whether or not some proposed investment is acceptable, these decisions come first. In all those things, you can see here that the investment decision is very clear. What does it means? In the first case, the criteria is yes or no, whether I will accept or not. In the second case, the criteria is very clear, whichever is meeting our preference. The preference is to get the higher return. So whichever is meeting our preference, that is going to be accepted. So what does it mean? That the ranking of the investment project, the decision should be very clear, whether I am getting the project or not, whether I am investing or not. The decision should be very clear. The financial modeling should be such that it should facilitate you to take the decision, whatever your criteria is. If your criteria is to have the minimum return, or if your criteria is to have the maximum return, it should give you the clear decision. Now, what is a financial model? whenever we are talking about a simple investment into a fixed deposit, what we do, we simply put a money into the bank and we can simply calculate how many years it will take to get our returns doubled or multiplied. But when we are doing a project in which some sort of income is happening every month or every year, and some sort of expenses are also happening. Now let us take an example of solar power plant. What does happen? Every month you are getting some return or some income because you are generating power and that power is getting sold. And every month you are conducting some activities which are coming as expenses. For an example, O&M. For an example, maintaining the inventories, and also there is a cost of insurance. So what is happening? Some income is coming and some expenses are happening. Now, if you are asked to calculate what the return you are going to get, you cannot give a straightforward answer because there is lot of in and out of the money is involved. Under those cases, one need to have a financial model. Now, right now we are talking about only the cash flow perspective of a financial model, because what we are trying to understand that why the financial model is required, because we are not able to calculate the return from the incoming and outgoing. We need to have a financial model. But if you are investing something in the FD or in the bank, you can straightforwardly get an answer that I am getting 7% return, 8% return, 9% return, 10% return. But in the example of solar power plant or any other capital project, when the incoming and outgoing is happening at frequencies, then you cannot predict the return, and then you need to have a financial model. Now, when we are talking about the financial model, it is also called the capital budgeting. The point is that if you are offered something, should we pursue the building of this plant or should we adopt this project? Now, the question is that how you are governed, how you are going to govern the decision. And that is the main question of the financial modeling. What return I am going to get? So, before jumping into the financial model, we need to understand the basics of the financial model, which are the terms which contribute to develop a financial model, and what is the significance of those terms. If we know the significance of those terms, then we can easily place them in our financial model and we can easily understand the impact of these financial terms over our financial results. So first thing is time value of money. So now I would like to ask the participant here, how many participants agree that a 100 rupee note in their pocket, which is able to get a 1 liter of petrol in today's date, will be able to get a 1 liter of petrol after 1 year? Those who believe that the same 1 liter of those who believe that 100 rupee note can get 1 liter of oil or petrol in the very next year, please type yes. Those who disagree, please type no. Let's make this bit interactive so that we can understand what we are talking about and what is the significance of those things. And when our basics are very clear, basics are on the foundation level, we will be able to get a lot of clarity. So all the participants, thank you so much for your enthusiastic participation. It seems that all the participants have taken a good lunch and they are filled up with a lot of energy. Very good. So all of them are saying no. It is absolutely right. It is no, because it is very clear. 100 rupee in my pocket today can get 1 liter of petrol today, but in the very next year it could be 0.9 liter or 0.8 liter. Let us say it is going to rise by 10%, then it is going to be 0.9 liter I will be able to get. Now, if I will be getting 0.9 liter from my 100 rupee note, what does it mean? It means that a dollar today is worth more than a dollar a year from now. 1 liter पेट्रोल $1 2 years later $1 हो सकता है आपको 2 साल के बाद 0.6 लीटर पेट्रोल ही दे पाए. So if I say that $1 or 100 rupee note will remain, the purchasing power of it will remain same, then I am not doing justice with it. I would have to understand that there is a time value of money, there is a TVM factor for the money, and that time value of money is telling us that your purchasing power will not be the same after 2 or 3 years. So, time value of the money, the financial modeling technique that best recognizes the time value of the money are those that involve discounted cash flows. What does it mean? As I told you that you can take on an average that every year 10% of the rise of the petrol value, petrol price. What does it mean? That in the first year you are getting 1 liter on 100 rupees. In the next year, you will be getting 0.9 liter. In the next year, after that, you will be getting 0.8 liter. And after 10 years, you will be getting nothing of it. So what does it mean? It means that discounted cash flow needs to be applied so that you can get to know that what 100 rupee can buy you after 5 years or 7 years. Now, if this is going to happen, there is a need of discount rate which can be applied to it to know that what is the future value, what is the present value of some the future. Let us say you have 500 rupees in the future. Let us say we are talking about 2022 and we are talking about 2025, 3 years later. Let us say we have 1000 rupees in 2025 with us. So what is going to be the value of 1000 rupees in the today's scenario? That is going to be governed by the discount rate. And if we need to understand this, let us take an example for this first, and then I will get back to the other terms. So let us say if I need to understand the present value. So what I'm talking about is, let us take this example. Arjuna promised you to pay rupees 2000 in 4 years time. What is the present value using a 10% rate of discount? Now let us say that you have given 2000 rupees to Arjuna on 18th of May 2022. I repeat, you have given 2000 rupees to Arjuna on 18th of May 2022, and Arjuna has promised you to pay back it after 4 years. It means she is going to pay he is going to pay you back in 2026. Now, what is the present value using a 10% rate of discount? Now we know that the future value is 2000 rupees. The interest rate is 10%, which is 0.10 as a decimal. The number of years is 4. If I apply the formula of present value, you can see here that formula is PV is equal to FV 1 divided by 1 plus R power n. So here future value is 2000, and when I apply this formula, what I get, my present value is 1366 rupees. What does it mean? What is the meaning of 1366 rupees? It is very simple to understand. अगर आपके पास 2000 रुपए आज की डेट में है तो आप उससे कितने लीटर पेट्रोल ले सकते हैं? प्लीज आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन. If you have 2000 rupees, let us say the price of the petrol is 100 rupees. How much oil you can buy from it? कितने लीटर ऑयल आपको मिल जाएगा उससे? These are the very basic things. If these basics gets in place, then you will be able to climb up on the ladder of financial model. And these basic 2000 rupees in your pocket, and if you go to buy the petrol in the market at 100 rupees per liter, how much petrol you will get? How many liter petrol you will get? So is there any answer? Yes, one answer is from Tulsidarji. It is 20 liter. So thank you so much. There are more answers. 20 liter is absolutely right. Thank you so much for participation and interaction. I appreciate. Now my next question is, if on after 4 years, Arjuna gives you 2000 rupees, which is equivalent to 1366 rupees, how much oil you will be able to buy after 4 years from the same 2000 rupees? From the same 2000 rupees, how much oil you will be able to buy? You will be able to buy 13.6 liter only. This is the example of it to make you understand what is the value of present value. What is the concept of net present value? So, if you have given 2000 rupees to Arjuna today and he has promised to give you the same amount after 4 years, it means that you will be able to get only 13.6 liter of oil from it. So this is the point which I wish to clear with all you, that it is actually the value of present value. Now let us take one more example. If you will get 3000 rupees in 3 years, what is the present value? Let us say someone says, I will give you 3000 rupees in 3 years. What is the present value? At the discount rate of 10%. If we apply the formula gives us the PV. The present value is 2253 rupees. What does it mean? What does it mean is that if you are getting 3000 rupees, जितना 3000 रुपए से आप उस टाइम पे खरीद पाएंगे, उतना खरीदने के लिए आपको 2253 रुपए आज चाहिए होगा. या इसको ऐसे कहें कि आज आप मार्केट में कोई सामान खरीदने के लिए जाते हैं तो वो सामान आपका 2253 रुपए में आ जाता है. You are able to buy that good in 2253 rupees. But if you go to buy the same good after 3 years, you will have to spend 3000 rupees for it. अगर उसका प्राइस हर साल 10% बढ़ता है तो. Now this is the concept of the present value. And why present value is so important? Because whenever we are doing financial modeling, we are talking about the future. We are talking about whenever we are doing the financial modeling of the solar, what we are saying, in the first year you will get this much amount. In the second year you will get this much amount. In the third year you will get this much amount. And in the 25th year you will get this much amount. And when I know that I am going to get some amount every year, I need to know what is the present value of all those amounts, so that I can understand that what is the present value and how that present value is contributing to my wealth. Because whatever we are doing, we are trying to increase our wealth. Why do we do business? Because we are wishing to do our increment in our wealth. Let us say, I give you an example that currently your wealth is X. And after that, after doing this project, your wealth will be, there are two cases. After doing this project, your wealth will be X plus or X minus. What you would like to do? अगर कोई प्रोजेक्ट करने के बाद आपकी वेल्थ X प्लस होती है या X माइनस होती है, तो आप क्या करना चाहेंगे? X प्लस करना चाहेंगे या X माइनस करना चाहेंगे? Who has replied this X plus? Varun Bhatnagar, thank you so much.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. It is a no-brainer that you would always like to get X plus of your wealth. Why? Because you want to get your wealth increased. But if you are offered some amount in the future, and you don't know whether that amount is equivalent to the present value, more than the present value or lesser than the present value, how can you know that whether your wealth is increasing or not? Let us say you have given some money to someone and that guy have promised you to return this money every year to you, and you don't have the idea that whether this will be increment to my wealth or not, then you cannot take a decision, and for that you need to understand the present value. So I have made it very clear to you that what is the role of present value. किस प्रकार से आप 20 लीटर की जगह सिर्फ 13 लीटर ऑयल खरीद सकते हैं, और किस प्रकार से आप जो आज गुड्स जो हैं 2253 रुपीस में खरीद रहे हैं, उसको आपको फ्यूचर में 3000 रुपीज का खरीदना पड़ेगा अगर आप 3 साल के बाद उसको खरीदते हैं. So these are the basics. Now let us take one more example for this to understand it. Now this is a third example. What is the value now if you get rupees 6500 in next year at the rate of 10%? What does it mean? And the answer is 5652 rupees. Now, if you wish to understand it, there are two kind of discount rate. One is 10% and second is 15%. If you wish to understand this, what does it mean? It means that if you are going to buy something, it will cost you 5909 rupees, this much amount. And if you buy it after 1 year, it will cost you 6500 rupees. So the present value is 5909. Now, why do we need the present value? Because we need to determine whether that investment is going to add to my wealth or decrease my wealth. If it is going to add to my wealth, then it is a good investment. But if it is going to decrease my wealth, then it is not a good investment. And how do we calculate the net present value? Now, I have given you 25 years. On all those years, you are getting some returns, and you cannot take a decision by seeing it कि ज़्यादा पैसा आ गया है. पैसा तो ऑब्वियसली आपको ज़्यादा ही आएगा आज के मुकाबले, बट अगर आपने उसको डिस्काउंट रेट अप्लाई किया है, आफ्टर अप्लाइंग द डिस्काउंट रेट, क्या आपकी वेल्थ बढ़ी है या नहीं बढ़ी है? अगर आपकी वेल्थ नहीं बढ़ी है तो देन देयर इज द नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू इज एक्चुअली लेस. तो किस प्रकार से हम लोग नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू को कैलकुलेट करते हैं? लेट अस सी एन एग्जांपल. Now take this example. Amal needs rupees 1000 now and will pay you back rupees 1350 in a year. Is that a good investment when you can get a 10% per year? Now in this example, what is your outflow? Your outflow is 1000 rupees. Whenever we are designing any net present value scenario, what we are first considering, what is the outflow? Your outflow here is 1000 rupees. It means you have investment 1000 rupees. Now what is your inflow? Your inflow is 1350 rupees. 1350 रुपीज को अगर आप 10% का डिस्काउंट रेट करते हैं तो उसकी प्रेजेंट वैल्यू कितनी आती है? 1227 रुपए. 1227 रुपए. एंड 1227 रुपए को अगर आप 1000 के साथ कंपेयर करते हैं तो इट मीन्स कि ये 227 रुपए ज्यादा है. व्हाट डज इट मीन्स कि नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू इज पॉजिटिव हियर. सिंस एनपीवी इज पॉजिटिव बिकॉज 227 is greater than 0, it means it is going to add the wealth of Amal. पहले अमल की वेल्थ कितनी थी? 1000 रुपीज उसकी वेल्थ थी. अब उसकी वेल्थ कितनी हो गई है? अब उसकी वेल्थ हो गई है 1227. सो उसके लिए ये इन्वेस्टमेंट अच्छी इन्वेस्टमेंट है. बट इमेजिन इसी सिनेरियो के अंदर अगर उसको वापस मिलते 1050 रुपीज, अगर उसको वापस मिलते 1050 रुपीज, तो क्या उसकी वेल्थ बढ़ती या कम होती? तो उसकी वेल्थ ऑब्वियसली कम हो जाती. तो यहाँ पे नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू को जब हम लोग कैलकुलेट करते हैं तो व्हाट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज द कैश आउटफ्लो, व्हाट इज द कैश इनफ्लो, एंड वट एवर द डिफरेंस इज, उस डिफरेंस का कितना प्रेजेंट वैल्यू है. एंड व्हाट डज एक प्रेजेंट वैल्यू को अगर सभी को क्लियर हो गया है तो आई कैन पार्क इट हियर. बट इफ someone is not clear, I have an alternative way also. Is the present value clear to everyone? अगर किसी को क्लियर नहीं है तो प्लीज टाइप नो इन द चैट बॉक्स. I have only got 4 responses so far. They are mentioned for yes. It is not appropriate for me to take a decision on this basis that everyone has understood. What I wish that everyone should understood this, because these are the very foundation things. अगर ये सब clear हो जाता है आपका तो then I would be very happy to get forward. अगर किसी को नहीं क्लियर होता है तो माई ग्रैंडफादर, आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू माई ग्रैंडफादर, वो टोल्ड मी वन थिंग इन दी very beginning in my childhood, that if I am not able to, if I am not clear about anything, I should immediately raise my hand, because I would never regret later in my life not for raising my hand. So I request all the participants to let us get involved, because if we get involved, the way we get involved, we will be evolved. And that is why I'm saying let us get involved in this financial model. मजा भी बहुत आएगा आपको जब कुछ टाइम के बाद जब आपको लगेगा कि आपकी फाइनेंशियल मॉडल के ऊपर बहुत अच्छी मास्टरी हो रही है, आपको बहुत चीजें क्लियर हो रही हैं. So you will enjoy it also, and this would, you would be able to apply in your general life, in your other projects also. So काफी ज्यादा yes I have not seen a single no. So बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. It is very good that all the participants are getting clear. The other alternative is कि आप इसको ऐसे भी सोच सकते हैं कि अगर लेटर से 13 वापस आते हैं उस एग्जाम्पल के ऊपर, लेटर से कि 1350 रुपए आपको नेक्स्ट ईयर मिलने हैं. अगर उस 1350 रुपए को आपको 10% के रेट पर जमा करवाना होता तो कितना पैसा आप जमा करवाते कि आपको 1350 रुपए मिल जाते. ये भी एक तरीका हो सकता है इसको रिजॉल्व करने का. बट अगर सभी को क्लियर है तो लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. नाउ दिस विल गिव यू मोर क्लैरिटी, बिकॉज इसमें अब हम लोग सोलर का जो ट्रेंड है कि हर साल पैसा मिलता है उसके नजदीक आ रहे हैं. So invest rupees 20,000 now and receive 3 yearly payments of rupees 5,000 each plus rupees 12,000 in the third year. तो आपको कितना पैसा मिल रहा है? You are getting 27,000 rupees, because 3 साल मिलेगा 5,000, it means 15,000. एक साल मिलेगा 12,000, it means 27,000 मिलेगा आपको. Now अगर ये आपको मिल रहा है, कितने साल के बाद मिल रहा है? 3 years के बाद. क्या आप इसके ऊपर कोई डिसीजन ले सकते हैं अभी कि ये आपकी वेल्थ को बढ़ाएगा या कम करेगा? क्या आप इसके ऊपर कोई डिसीजन ले सकते हैं? अगर आप ये मान के चलते हैं कि 10% का डिस्काउंट रेट है, कि 10% तो मिलना ही चाहिए कम से कम. अगर आपको लेटर से नॉर्मल सिनेरियो में 10% मिल रहा है, एक सिनेरियो में विच इज 10% डिस्काउंट रेट, और सेकेंड सिनेरियो में आपसे कहा जा रहा है कि आप 5,000 3 साल के ले लीजिए और चौथे साल में 12,000 ले लीजिए. सो कितना कौन सा विच प्रपोजिशन इज बेनिफिशियल? कैन यू टेक अ डिसीजन राइट नाउ ऑन दिस बेसिस? कैन समवन टेल मी कि इसके बेसिस पे कोई डिसीजन लिया जा सकता है? सो द डिसीजन.
Good afternoon, sir. Varun this side.
या
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can calculate the net present value as on date. So, if the net present value is coming to be more than 20,000, means we are increasing the value. 20,000 is our investment.
Yeah.
Right, sir. If we are getting everything discounted on today's date,
Yes.
if it's giving a profit, so then we will go for the project implementation of project.
Yes, very good, Varun. So now let us see how we will do it, because it is not a straight question. इसमें straightly कोई apply नहीं हो सकता, कोई formula apply नहीं हो सकता कि 20,000 के ऊपर 27,000 मिल रहा है तो कोई straight formula apply नहीं होगा. We will have to do it on the yearly basis. And how we will do it? यहाँ पे आप देखिए, फर्स्ट ईयर के अंदर आपके पास 20,000 रुपया था, वो सिस्टम में से आउट हो गया. इट मीन्स इट इज -20,000. सेकेंड ईयर आपके पास कितना आया? 5,000 रुपीज. फर्स्ट ईयर में 5,000 आया, सेकेंड ईयर में 5,000 आया, थर्ड ईयर में 5,000 आया, फोर्थ ईयर में आपके पास 12,000 आया. नाउ जो मैं आपके साथ बात कर रहा था वो आप देखिए, आपको बिल्कुल क्लियर हो जाएगा. फर्स्ट ईयर में जो 5,000 आपके पास आया था वो वन टाइम डिस्काउंट हुआ है, क्योंकि उस पर एक 10% कम हुआ है आपका. तो यानी कि कितना कम हुआ है? 0.90. तो उसकी वैल्यू, प्रेजेंट वैल्यू कितनी हुई? 45. जो पैसा आपको 2024 में मिला 5,000, उसकी डिस्काउंटेड वैल्यू कितनी होगी? 0.82, क्योंकि उसमें 10% दो बार अप्लाई होगा. तो वो कितना हो गया? 4132. जो पैसा आपको 2025 में मिला है उसका कितना होगा? 0.75. तो उसकी वैल्यू कितनी हुई? 3756. और जो पैसा आपको फोर्थ ईयर में मिला है उसका, थर्ड ईयर के बाद ही मिला है, फोर्थ उसके साथ ही मिला है, तो वो भी आपका 0.75 हुआ है. तो इट मीन्स वो आपका 9,000 हुआ है. In total, you have got 1,450 rupees extra than 20,000 rupees. तो टोटल पैसा नेट वैल्यू, प्रेजेंट वैल्यू कितना हो गया? 1,450 रुपीज. और आपको प्लस कितना, वेल्थ कितना प्लस हुआ आपका? 1,450 रुपीज. So in this way you can assess that this investment is beneficial to us. Now it is very clear कि ये इन्वेस्टमेंट हमें 10% से ज्यादा रिटर्न दे रही है, क्योंकि 10% की रिटर्न पे अगर ये जीरो आ जाता तो इस मीन्स कि ये 10% की रिटर्न दे रही होती, बट इट इज गिविंग अस मोर देन 10%. So is this clear to everyone? और अगर किसी को कोई डाउट है तो वो पूछ सकते हैं. Is it clear to everyone?
Hello, can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, two questions. First one, how we decide on this discount rate, whether it's 10% or it's more than 10%, or how we assume it?
Discount rate is basically your criteria, sir. It is applicable on so many fronts. Let us say you are arranging the money from somewhere on the loan basis or something. So your discount rate would be in a scenario जो आपका वहाँ से lending rate निकल के आ रहा है. Or it could be possible that you are making an investment in alternative A और उस alternative A में आपको 15% का return मिल रहा है. So in that case, this discount rate will be 15%. Or there could be other scenario in which you are just wishing, okay, 10% return is fine for me. So in that case, the discount rate would be 10%. Or in some scenario, you just wish that it should meet with the inflation. So in that case, it could be around 8 to 9%. So discount rate is based on how you are arranging the money and what it is costing you or what investment return you are looking from it actually.
Okay, so is
Sir,
there any, yeah,
please continue. Please continue.
Yeah, yeah.
so is there any calculation like, you told me there are some wishes, for example, I can wish I need like 10%, 15%.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
other case, is there any like calculation model that we can calculate this discount rate also? Or it
No,
depends on the
discount rate,
party?
yeah, discount rate is not about any calculation. Discount rate, let us say you have, what my point is, let us say you have taken a loan at 10%, okay, and you are wishing to get more returns so that you can pay the loan also. So you would always look forward to get more return as compared to your loan. The second scenario is you are getting, let us say, you are getting a proposal of investment in which you are getting 10% of the return, and you are given the second option in which you are not sure about what return you will get. So let us take the previous example. In the previous example, the let us say 10% discount rate is for some other alternative of investment. Now, in that particular case, the NPV is 1450 higher than the 10%. So it is very clear that if you investment in the previous example, you will be getting more than the 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is, so sometimes we have to compare between the investment. Let us say in the previous example, if the discount rate is, let us say 13%, then your NPV would be negative. So you know that investment A is better for me.
Okay, it's clear. Second, in this table, column DCF at 10%. So DCF is like discount direct cash flow, or like what is it exactly? DCF?
Discounted cash flow.
Discounted cash flow.
Discounted means that you are understanding that you know, your purchasing power, you can say, is going to be discounted.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So I am very glad that participants are getting a clarity. So there is just a small typo Junaid has mentioned. So this 12,000 is also getting paid at the third year, as it is mentioned, and receive 3 yearly payments of rupees 5,000 each plus rupees 12,000 in the third year. So there is small typo error. I apologize for it. So it is third year only. So in the third year, he is getting 5,000 plus 12,000 also. Thanks for correcting it, Junaid. And now there is one more method to do it. This is quite simple method. The table method is quite easier to understand. So now we will take one more example. My intent is that your basics are clear. जब basic clear हो जाते हैं तो फिर ऊपर चढ़ना बहुत आसान हो जाता है. So the next example is a project with a 3-year life and a cost of rupees 1 lakh generates revenue of 25,000 in the year 1, 45,000 in the year 2, and 65,000 in the year 3. If the discount rate is 8%, what is the NPV of the project? Now this will give you more clarity. So what is our investment? Our investment is 1 lakh rupees. What is the revenue we are getting? We are getting 25,000 in the year 1, 45,000 in the year 2, and 65,000 in the year 3. Now you can see in this table, minus 1 lakh because it has gone out of your system. Cash outflow हो गया. What is incoming is 25,000 at the end of year 1. 2023 18th May को 25,000 आ रहा है. 18th में 2024 को 45,000 आ रहा है. 18th में 2025 को 65,000 रुपीज आ रहा है. नाउ व्हाट इज द प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ दीज फिगर्स? 25,000 को अगर एक साल के बाद आपको मिल रहा है तो उसकी प्रेजेंट वैल्यू कितनी हो गई? 8% के DCF पे 23,148 रुपीज. 45,000 की DCF वैल्यू कितनी होगी? 38,580 रुपीज. एंड 65,000 का DCF वैल्यू हो गया 0.79 के हिसाब से जब हम करते हैं इट कम्स ऑफ 51,599. तो इन सब से जो मेरा NPV निकल के आ रहा है वो निकल के आ रहा है 13,327. It means कि that this project is good for me. It is giving me more than 8% return. So if it is at 10% तो शायद ये 13,000 ना आता. So through this we are able to get whether this project is going to add my increase my wealth or not. इस प्रोजेक्ट को करने से मेरी जो वेल्थ है वो आज की डेट में 1 लाख ना होके 1,13,000 हो जाएगी. इसका मतलब पता है क्या है? इसका मतलब ये है कि आज मेरी जो वेल्थ है वो 1 लाख रुपए है और मैंने ये प्रोजेक्ट कर लिया है. इस प्रोजेक्ट को कर लिया, मेरे को पैसे मिलेंगे 2023, 24, 25 के अंदर. And that is very clear to me कि I will be getting the money at the end of 2003, 2024, 2025. But if I wish to understand what is my present value, what is my value of my wealth in today 18th May 2022, अगर ये प्रोजेक्ट मैंने सही ढंग से कर लिया है, so my wealth is now 1,13,327 rupees. That is the essence of net present value कि आपकी wealth कितना हो गया है, पहले कहां पर था और अब कितना हो गया है. If this is coming let us say minus 5,000, I will not do this project because मेरा wealth जो है 1 lakh से 95,000 रह जाएगा. Is that clear to everyone? Is that clear to everyone? Please type yes if it is clear. If there is any doubt then please let me know. Thank you so much for all the participants who are responding, because when we see the response of the participants, it gives us an indication, it gives us a reciprocation, it gives us a movement. जैसे क्रिकेट का गेम होता है ना, स्ट्राइकर एंड नॉन स्ट्राइकर के बीच में बातचीत होता है एंड देन वी टेक द रन और रन लेने के लिए भागते हैं. नाउ व्हेन यू अप्लाई यस, व्हेन वी सेंड यस, इट गिव्स मी अ फीडबैक. ओके, आगे की तरफ चलते हैं. नाउ लेट अस मूव फॉरवर्ड. The other example I have for you, a project with a 4-year life and a cost of rupees 2,25,000 generates revenue of 48,000 rupees in year 1, 67,000 in year 2, 95,000 in year 3 and rupees 1,10,000 in year 4. Now इसके अंदर मैंने डिस्काउंट रेट को थोड़ा बढ़ा दिया है. पहले हमने 10% लिया, फिर 8% लिया, मैंने 15% कर दिया है. What my intention is कि जिस प्रकार से सोलर के अंदर हमारा होता है उसी प्रकार से हम लोग इसको ईयरली बेसिस पे कर रहे हैं. सोलर में भी आपका वेरी करता रहता है ईयरली बेसिस के ऊपर, तो यहाँ पे भी आपको जो है एक वेरिएशन के साथ हमने इसको कर रहे हैं. नाउ व्हाट वी आर सीइंग हियर इज minus 2,25,000 is out of the system. In the first year we are getting 48,000, second year 67,000, third year 95,000 and the fourth year 1,10,000. And DCF is, for the first year it is going to be 86%. Like you are getting 15% discount rate, so you are getting 0.86%. So 41,739 is your value for the first year, 50,000 against the 67,000. नाउ आपको जो 95,000 थर्ड ईयर में मिल रहा है उसकी करंट वैल्यू जो है 62,000 रुपीज ही है. इट मीन्स कि 95,000 रुपीज उसने जब आपको थर्ड ईयर में दिया, उससे जितना पेट्रोल आप उस टाइम पे खरीद पाओगे उतना पेट्रोल खरीदने के लिए आप आज को 62,000 रुपीज चाहिए होगा. उसके बाद 1,10,000 की जो वैल्यू है वो भी 62,000 है बिकॉज एक साल और डिले हो गया है. Now the net present value is coming minus 7,242. It is negative now. In this example, we have taken it negative. So what does it happens? It means that मेरी जो cash wealth थी वो 2,25,000 की जगह कितना हो जाएगा? अब लेट अस से कि ये 7,000 राउंड ऑफ कर देते हैं इसको, तो राउंड ऑफ अगर इसको 7,000 मानते हैं तो इस प्रोजेक्ट को करने के बाद मेरी नेट वेल्थ कितनी रह जाएगी? 2,25,000 की जगह कितनी रह जाएगी? प्लीज टाइप इन द चैट बॉक्स. Thank you so much, Varun. It is loss-making project. Junaid, yes, it is 2,000. Sorry, 2,18,000. Keshwam, it is right, 2,18,000. So now we are clear. Would you like to go for this project? Yes or no? आप ये प्रोजेक्ट करना चाहेंगे या नहीं करना चाहेंगे? वरुण, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट. जुनेद, यस यस, आपको ये प्रोजेक्ट नहीं करना है बिकॉज यू नो कि आज की डेट में आपकी वेल्थ 2,25,000 है. हर एक साल के बाद जब आपको अलग अलग पैसा मिल रहा है उसके बावजूद भी आपकी जो प्रेजेंट वैल्यू है वो तो 2,18,000 ही आ रही है, तो आपके लिए प्रोजेक्ट जो है नो हो गया. सो व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू डेवलप एन अंडरस्टैंडिंग, वी आर डेवलपिंग एन अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि मेरी जो डिफरेंट टाइम पे पेमेंट आएगी मुझे उससे समझ में आ जाए कि वो प्रोजेक्ट करने का फायदा है या नहीं है. I should be able to understand that whether they're doing that project is viable, feasible, and beneficial for me or not. And now I'm able to get that it is not beneficial for me, it is not viable for me, and it is not profitable for me. And I will not do this project because NPV is negative. So this is about NPV point. अगर किसी को कोई doubt है तो please ask, otherwise I will move forward. So any doubt? Anyone wishes to ask anything or everything is clear? What is the general practice in the solar industry for discount rate for financial modeling? Biju, Krishnan, CP Saab, we will come on it in a gradual manner. First we will build up the foundation. Foundation के बाद उसके बाद we will build up the other necessary terms and then we will jump into the solar industry. Kindly wait for some time, we will come on it. Yeah, we will come on it, Abhijit ji. Expenses part will always come. First thing is that let us understand the basics with the simplest examples, and then we will complex it gradually. Now the next point is, now when we are criteria for the net present value method, as I have told you, if it is positive, then it is acceptable. If it is negative, it is not acceptable. अगर जीरो आता है तो भी आप उसको एक्सेप्ट कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज जीरो आने के केस में क्या है कि आप कह रहे थे कि अगर मेरे को 10% मिल जाता है तो आई विल डू इट, और जैसे ही वो जीरो आता है तो इट मीन्स कि आपको 10% तो मिल ही रहा है. अगर जीरो से ज्यादा आता है तो आपको 10% से ज्यादा मिल रहा है. Now we need to go to the another method which is called internal rate of return method. What we have understood here is NPV method for determining whether a project is doable or not. Now there is one more method which is called internal rate of return method. But before that, let us jump to the TVM where we left previously. So we were here, we understood that what is discount rate, how does it affect our investment. Now discounted cash flow, what we have understood here is very clear. Now the next point is cash flow के तौर पे what are the typical cash outflows whenever we are doing a project. There are outflows. पैसा बाहर कैसे जाता है? First of all, initial investment, as we were seeing those examples, that 2,25,000 was invested, 1 lakh rupees was invested. So those were the initial investments. So that is outflow. And then we have the repairs and maintenance cost. Repair and maintenance cost में भी हमारा पैसा, in solar case it is goes for O&M thing. The third thing is incremental operating cost. We have the manpower in our projects, and for those manpower we every year provide some raise in their salaries, or we can say we have insurance. Every year there is some change in the cost of the insurance, or we have some inventory, some cost of the repairing goods, and the cost of those goods also goes increasing. And the third last thing is the working capital. And when we are talking about working capital, it could be that working capital is borrowed and we are paying some interest on it, and that cost of having the working capital is also an outflow. And when we are talking about the inflows कि पैसा कहाँ कहाँ से हमें वापस आता है, so first हमें पैसा वापस आता है release of working capital, salvage value, reduction of cost, incremental revenues. तो जो भी हमारा revenue होता है, that is our inflow. जैसे solar की जब आप power बेचते हैं, when you are selling the solar units, that is your revenue. And when we are cutting down any cost of reduction, that is also our revenue. And when we are having release of working capital, whatever the interest we were paying earlier and now we are released from it, that is also our inflows. And finally, salvage value. What is salvage value? Salvage value is the scrap value of your project. Let us say you have taken a taxi or you have taken a car, and when you sell that car at 30, 40, 50,000 rupees after its life, that is the salvage value of that car or the project. Now, there is one more thing which is called depreciation, and depreciation is also very important to be modeled into the financial modeling. What is the role of depreciation and why it not need to be modeled into the financial modeling? I'm sure we all are aware that through the depreciation we get some tax benefit. Whenever it is, there could be some salaried person here, there could be some person from the business side. So those who are from the salaried side, they can take an analogy or example that whenever we have LIC policy or medical policy, through that our taxable income gets reduced. और जब हमारा taxable income कम हो जाता है तो हमारा टैक्स भी बच जाता है, और जो हमारा टैक्स बच जाता है that is kind of inflow into our system, क्योंकि उतना पैसा हमारे सिस्टम में ज़्यादा बच जाता है. And when we having commercial entities, in those entities, whatever we are depreciating, through the depreciation, the taxable income gets reduced. And when the taxable income gets reduced, we get the benefit of income into the system. Now, the next thing is expenses. What could be the expenses? Expenses could be the salaries, fees, rent, stationery, maintenance, blah, blah thing. There could be many things into the expenses side depending upon the need of the project. If you are talking about the solar, it is more to do with the O&M things, the cost of repairing of the inverters, DC-DV, AC-DV, and then cost of the petrol, cost of the transportation, and then cost of the accommodation on the site. All those things comes into the expenses. Salvage value, I have told you that it is the estimated scrap value at the end of asset life. Now, when we are doing the financial modeling techniques, now we are getting into the next module. I have already covered the net present value. When we are doing the financial modeling technique, what are the methods? There are 6 methods actually. The 2 methods are traditional and the 4th method are modern methods. What are the traditional methods? These methods are very largely used till date. It is like payback period. Generally, we say that this project has 4 to 5 years payback period. And it could be like the average rate of return, कितना पैसा वापस आ रहा है. And when we are talking about the modified or the modern methods, it is called NPV, net present value, IRR, internal rate of return, modified IRR, and the profitability index. Out of these 4 methods, the 2 very critical are NPV and internal rate of return. We have already covered NPV. Now we will be covering the IRR method so that you can get a perspective of how IRR is calculated and what does it means. So far we have covered NPV and the basic terms. If there is anything which any participant wish to understand from the NPV perspective or other perspective, they can ask me right now, and then after clarifying, I will move forward towards the IRR. So any question, participants? Okay, I just wish to ask one more thing. Since I'm trying to cover a lot of things in the next in a total 3 days. So I'm just trying to go with the flow. Is my speed fine with everyone, or do I need to slow down my speed a bit? Please feel free to share if I need to slow down my speed a bit. Yeah, fine. Okay, great. So wonderful. So I would maintain so that the maximum can be conveyed and transferred. Okay, so what is the any question right now, or should we move towards the IRR? Okay. So I assume that everyone is clear now. So we can move. Okay. Okay. So now let us move forward to the IRR question. Everyone has seen that NPV told you that, let us take this example. It is very interesting thing that how things are gradually going to clear the basics to you. We just took this example. Now in this particular example, you got the answer कि आपका जो wealth है वो 1450 बढ़ जाएगा और ये भी क्लियर हो गया आपको कि आपकी जो रिटर्न है वो 10% से ज़्यादा है. सबको क्लियर है ये पॉइंट. ओके, इस वाले एग्जाम्पल को देखते हैं. द नेक्स्ट कि आपका जो वेल्थ है वो 13,000 बढ़ जाएगा. 1 लाख से कितना हो जाएगा? इट विल बी 1,13,000. इट मीन्स दैट इट इज मोर देन 8%. यू आर गेटिंग मोर देन 8%. नाउ इन दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन यू आर क्लियर दैट योर वेल्थ विल बी डिक्रीज्ड. कितना डिक्रीज हो जाएगा? 2,25,000 से 2,18,000 हो जाएगा. इट मीन्स इट इज लेस देन 15%. बट डिड दी एनपीवी टेल यू कि आपको एक्यूरेटली कितना परसेंट मिल रहा है? कि 15% ना मिलके 14% मिल रहा है कि 13% मिल रहा है या 13.5% मिल रहा है? Did it tell you here that you are not getting 8%, you are getting 9%, 10%, or it could be 11%? Did it tell you here that you are not getting 10%, you are getting 11 or 12%? क्या इसने आपको क्लियर किया? नहीं, इसने आपको ये क्लियर नहीं किया है यहाँ पे. So if you are interested to know, then you need to understand what is IRR. तो यहीं से IRR का बेस शुरू होता है. And now let us see what is the principle of IRR. Now, internal rate of return method. Just give me 1 sec. There is some, I guess, some emergency call. They are calling again and again. Just one. Yeah, I'm sorry, there was some urgent call. So, what we were discussing that in the case of the IRR, the internal rate of return is the rate of return promised by an investment project over its useful life. It is computed by finding the discount rate that will cause the net present value of a project to the zero. Now it has two methods. One is called guess and check method, and second is called following the Excel files. So I will show you both the examples. My idea is to make you absolute clear so that you can understand and you can predict the IRR rates by seeing the data rather than extremely depending on the Excel files. So सबसे पहले इसको समझते हैं कि what does it means कि ये zero present value से मतलब क्या है. So अगर यहाँ पे here in this sheet I am saying it is 1450, इतना पैसा फालतू आ रहा है. अगर यहाँ पे ये 1450 की जगह ये जीरो आ जाता यहाँ पे, लेट अस से इट कम्स आउट जीरो हियर, तो इस केस में कैन वी से दैट कस्टमर इज गेटिंग 10% रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट? अभी तो इट इज कमिंग लाइक 11% भी हो सकता है, 12% भी हो सकता है, बिकॉज ये उससे ज्यादा है. बट इफ we get zero in this answer, let us say the answer is coming zero here, so can we say that customer is getting 10% return here? So very few participants are responding. I just wish that if it is a physical session, I would have called for the tea or the coffee to let all the participants enjoy the tea and coffee and get remained awakened. but it is very important to participate more because it is ultimately going to benefit. I would never say it is going to benefit you. I would always say that it is going to benefit all of you, because now we are a part of environment. We are reciprocating energy. We are exchanging energies. And if you are contributing more, if you are participating more, you are contributing to the other participants also, not to your own self. So I would never say कि अगर आप participate करेंगे तो आपका ही भला होगा. I would say that everyone would get benefit if you participate. The other participants would always get charged, and this would lift the environment, and then we will be into more conducive environment to learn more. So please be more participants. So, okay. So I could see here that participants have understood that if we get 0 after doing this calculation, so we can understand that whatever we were getting is actually the return. Now, in this particular example, it was 1450. It means that the return is more than 10%. But if it comes out to be 0 here, we can say that return is 10% here. Now, if I tell you that NPV is kept 0 when we are calculating the IRR, what does it mean? It means when we are calculating the IRR, we wish to know कि ये 8% ना होकर कितना परसेंट था, ये 9 था या 10 था, यहाँ पर ये 15% ना होकर कितना था, whether it was 13 or 14 or 12, we wish to know that. तो उसके लिए हमें NPV 0 चाहिए होगा. वो वैल्यू क्या चाहिए होगा? 0 चाहिए होगा. यानी कि जो उसकी फ्यूचर वैल्यू है उतनी ही उसकी प्रेजेंट वैल्यू होगी. देयर विल नॉट बी एनी डिफरेंस इनटू इट. तो उसके लिए what we say that we need to figure out IRR. And what is IRR? IRR is when the net project of value of a project to be 0, कि उसका कितना इंक्रीमेंट हुआ है उसको 0 मान लिया गया है. यानी कि अगर जितनी वेल्थ पहले थी उतनी ही वेल्थ अभी भी है. सो वो जो हमें रिटर्न मिलती है वो IRR रिटर्न कहलाती है. Now we will come to the decision criteria of IRR method. जैसे decision criteria for NPV method is कि उस method में if it is coming more than 0 it is beneficial, if it is coming less than 0 it is not beneficial. In the case of the IRR method, as Mr. Abhishek Ranjan ji was saying in the beginning that common acceptable IRR is around 16 to 18%. अगर आपका IRR इतना आता है 16%, then you will accept the project. If IRR is not coming 16%, then you will reject the project. Now I will show you some basic example for it first, then I will get into some detailed examples. So first of all, steps of calculation of IRR. तो इसमें हम लोग सबसे पहला स्टेप क्या करते हैं? Select two discount rates for the calculation of NPVs. You can start by selecting any two discount rates on a random basis that you will be used to calculate the net present value. It is important not to select discount rates that are ridiculously distant from the IRR. तो जो दो रेट्स लेने हैं, जैसे आपको ये क्लियर था कि ये 10% से थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा है, तो वो 11 भी हो सकता है, 12 भी हो सकता है. तो आपको क्या लेना होगा? 11 और 12 लेना होगा. आप ये नहीं कर सकते कि आप एक 11 ले लें और एक 90% ले लें. उसके बाद आप उन दोनों रेट्स के ऊपर एनपीवी को वर्कआउट कीजिए. एंड वंस यू वर्कआउट द IRR, यू विल फाइंड दैट एक रेट होगा आपका जो 0 के आसपास आपको ले जाएगा और वही आपका IRR होगा. नाउ इसी एग्जांपल को देखते हैं और उसमें देखते हैं कि 10% का डिस्काउंट रेट है. So in this particular example, you can see here investing rupees 9,000 now receive 3 yearly payments of rupees 2,500 each plus rupees 4,000 in the third year. Find the IRR. Now what we will do, we will try with 10% discount rate. यहाँ पे हमने 10% discount rate लिया है. So you can see here minus is 9,000 because it is outflown. Then we have 2,500 in the first year, 2,500 in the second year, 2,500 in the third year, and 4,000 in the fourth year. And when I apply the discounted cash flow at 10%, what does I get? 2,272 rupees in the first year, 2,066 rupees for the second year, 1,878 rupees for the third year, and 3,000 rupees for the fourth year. Now, what I am getting as NPV, my NPV is 222 ruपया. What does it means? That it project is positive, and it is very clear that DCF is more than 10%. DCF is more than 10%. Now, you try it at 12%. अब आप इसको 12% पे ट्राई कीजिए. जब आप इसको 12% पे ट्राई करेंगे सेम एग्जाम्पल को, यू विल गेट -148.3. तो ये बड़ा क्लियर हो गया कि ये रिटर्न जो है 12% से कम है और 10% से ज्यादा है. नाउ आई एम वेरी मच क्लियर दैट माय रिटर्न इज ग्रेटर देन 10% बट लेस देन 12%. नाउ आई विल अप्लाई one more. I will apply for 11.2% and it will give me absolute 0%. आपको जो IRR कैलकुलेट करना है वो एक्सेल शीट के थ्रू ही करना है. बट मैं ये क्यों चीजें आपके साथ शेयर कर रहा हूँ, समटाइम्स जब हमें बिल्कुल व्हाट वी से दैट बिल्कुल ही रेडीमेड सॉल्यूशंस मिल जाते हैं तो हमारे बेसिक्स जो हैं वो इन प्लेस नहीं रह पाते हैं. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू शेयर हियर विद यू दैट दीज आर द बेसिक्स एक्चुअली, कि आपने एक डिस्काउंट रेट लिया, उससे आपका एनपीवी ज़्यादा आया, आपने उसमें वेरिएशन करके देखा और आपको पता लगा कि मेरे को 11.2% का रिटर्न मिल रहा था. सो दैट आपके बेसिक्स बिल्कुल क्लियर हो जाएं. अब इस केस में आपका एनपीवी जो है 0 आ गया है. इट मीन्स कि आपका एब्सोल्यूट रिटर्न कितना है, 11.2% है. नाउ लेट अस टेक one more example. Find the IRR of an investment having initial cash outflow of rupees 2,80,000. The cash inflows at first, second, third and fourth year are expected to be 72,000 for the first year, 97,000 for the second year, third year it is 1,05,000 and fourth year it is 1,10,000. Now, what is your investment? Your investment is 2,80,000 rupees. Now we prepare it at 10%. 10% करने पे हमारा जो NPV है that is coming 19,639 rupees. It means it is a positive project at 10% and it is offering me more than 10%. Now apply 13% to it. There is small typo error. I'm sorry for it. It is 13%. When I apply 13%, the NPV is 82 rupees. It means that I have got very nearby to my IRR rate. And when so here my NPV is 82 rupees. So it is very clear that my return is somewhat about 12.9% or 12.95% something. So the idea of the IRR is make your NPV equivalent to 0 so that you can know what is the internal rate of return. Kitna return aapko aa raha hai. So that is the point of IRR. Now one more thing, one more example. Now let us say that Mr. Amila is considering to invest rupees 3,50,000 in a hardware business. The cash inflows during the first, second and third years are expected to be 1,25,000, 1,50,000 and 1,17,000 respectively. Cost of the capital is 11%. Now I remember someone asked me, I guess Varunji has asked, what is the decision for the discount rate. Now you can see here that he has borrowed money from somewhere and it is costing him 11%. So obviously he would like to have more returns as compared to 11%. Calculate the IRR for the proposed investment and interpret your answer. Now let us select two discount rate. One is 10% and another is 15%. At 10% we are getting 15,000 rupees as NPV. So it means that at 10% it is very positive. Now at 15% it is getting minus 16,000. It means we are not getting 15% return. The return could be 13%, 14% or 12%. So if we have to calculate from these two things, there is a formula for it. The formula is NPV1, which is NPV1. NPV1 is at 10%. NPV 1 multiplied by R2 minus R1, then NPV1 minus NP2. It will give you the exact calculation of the IRR, which is 12.44%. So in this particular case, it is 12.44%. So you will be getting this through the Excel sheet, but what my intention is that you should be able to understand how the IRR is actually calculated within the system. System के अंदर calculation होता कैसे है उसका, वो उसको zero करने के बाद ही निकल के आता है. So this is about NPV and IRR. So if there is any doubt to any participants, then please let me know about these two things. Yeah, so both NPV and IRR is clear to all the participants?
Sir, can you explain that formula once again?
Yeah, sure.
IRR.
Yeah, so formula is for the purpose of determining the final value. So इसमें जो तरीका होता है वो ये होता है कि आपने जो एक लोअर वैल्यू लिया है, that is R1 which was 10% here, उसको प्लस कीजिए किसके साथ? NPV1 which is 15,326 into जो डिफरेंस है R1 और R2 का उसके साथ मल्टीप्लाई कीजिए, एंड देन जो फर्स्ट NPV1 है और जो सेकंड NPV2 है उनका जो डिफरेंस है उसके साथ डिवाइड कीजिए, and then you get the answer which is 10% plus 2.44%. It is 12.44%. It is now clear to everyone? It is now clear to everyone? So, Shikha ji, Varun ji, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, all the participants are clear about NPV and IRR? Or they clear about the time value of the money? Because this is the basics of the financial modeling. If it is not clear, then if we are talking about IRR, if we are talking about NPV, then our communication would not be on the ground basis. So I have just tried to be very clear so that all the participants can get a clarity. There could be some participants we already have the clarity, but there could be some participants for those this could have been a new thing for them. So are there any participants who have learned this first time?
Yes, sir, I'm learning for the first time. Can we write this formula in terms of R2 minus करके उसका फिर in terms of NPV2 minus NP1?
No, NPV1 minus NP2.
Fine. Now, if I write it as R2 plus R2 minus NPV2 into R2 minus R1 by NPV2 minus NPV1. Can we have a palindrome? I mean, complementary भी आ सकता है ना, पीछे से आ सकता है ना हम लोग?
हाँ, बेसिकली क्या कर रहे हैं हम लोग, R1 जो लोअर साइड पे है ना, उसके ऊपर जो इंक्रीमेंटल है, R1 जो लोअर साइड पे है, उसके ऊपर कितना इंक्रीमेंट हुआ है? उसके ऊपर इंक्रीमेंट हुआ है 2.4% का, 2.44% का. तो दैट इज व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू गेज. अदरवाइज हम लोग पीछे से शुरू करेंगे तो मैं और वो वैल्यू माइनस में आएगी तो फिर 15 माइनस 2.56% आ जाएगा उधर से. वो आप करके देखिएगा एक बार ही, देयर इज नो हार्म इन डूइंग इट. आप एक बार करके देखिएगा उसको. So, very good to see that there are so many participants who are doing it for the first time, and I would encourage them that please do understand these things from very basic thing, because whenever forget about the, it is a general thing for all of your investment decisions. And if you are going to, let us say, the very small decision, you are going to buy a taxi for your office, or it could be possible that there are only few days on which you are traveling. So you can evaluate a financial model in which whether hiring a taxi is beneficial or having a taxi is beneficial. I mean, buying a cab is beneficial. The second option could be hiring an office or buying an office. And there could be something like hiring a printer. जो आप बड़े बड़े प्रिंटर्स होते हैं उनको लेने का फायदा है, हायरिंग करने का फायदा है, और इट कुड बी पॉसिबल कि उनको खरीद लिया जाए. So you can do these financial modeling and you will be surprised a lot of money is getting lost on the buying of the capitals like unused taxi, unused printers, unused some sort of machinery which can be easily availed from the nowadays furniture is easily availed. So I'm just asking you, encouraging you to apply the financial models over there. And it is very simple. I will teach you tomorrow. I will share it with you that it is very simple and you can apply this financial modeling in your other aspects also. And on the third day, we will gradually move towards the complex calculation. So I have built up this course in a very simple manner for all the participants so that they can imbibe these concepts into their journal lives as well as their solar financial modeling. Because I feel that in the technical world, a lot of decisions are getting driven from the financial side only. It could be that we are saying that this product is very good, this machine is very good, but at the end of the day, whether that is making any financial sense or not, whether it is adding to the NPV or not, that's the key decision area. And once we have the command over it, we can easily discard the decisions which are not going to add to our wealth. So this is the bigger understanding, the broader understanding for the financial modeling. So we are left with the 10 minutes in today's session. If there are any questions, then please let me know. Any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, I'm learning these terms for the first time because
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful.
I'm
Wonderful.
coming from the construction, as I informed you earlier.
Yeah.
So
Your good name?
my name is Muhammad Nazir.
Muhammad Nazir. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a great opportunity, and I'm learning very quickly, Annie, because of your good method. Yeah. And so one thing is that you will be sharing all these slides to us. The
Yeah,
Excel
yeah, yeah.
sheet.
I would be sharing all the slides. I have some another studies also, and I have some other practice tests also. I would be sharing everything with you, but all in a gradual manner so that the sharing and the digestion can happen at the appropriate time. That is why I have not touched upon the solar because currently my intent is to work on the basics. And once the basics are cleared, then when we can easily build up the upper floors.
Perfect, sir. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. Yes, Junaid, basically we are trying to find a point where NPV becomes zero. So IRR is a point where the NPV curves gets zero. So NPV1 and NPV2 are just the two reference points, and ultimately IRR point is reached where the line gets to the zero. Now, since we are talking about the financials, so I am not seeing any questions. So my intent is to uh, share from the perspective of the financials. So there is two options. There are two thumb rules in the financial world. So generally, we wish to get 16 to 20% IRR, and it is not about comparing with the government security return. It is more or to less. Let us say someone has the capital, someone has borrowed the capital, as Mr. Ranjanji was mentioning. So depend upon what is the cost of the capital. So depending upon, and also it depends upon what kind of generation, what kind of CUF you are going to get for a particular location. So all those things contribute to the IR side. The higher the IRR, the more the return we get. I will touch upon these points in the third day. You will get the proper example for this. So one more two thumb rules which I wish to share with the participants to broaden their financial understanding. So when we are talking about the fixed deposits, generally, how much time does it take to double the money? Let us say I have 6% of the rate of interest. 6%. Bank is offering me 6% rate of interest, and I want to get my money doubled. How many years it will take? I just wish to have some thumb rules on your tips because I believe the things on your tips becomes a wisdom on your lips. And when the wisdom on your lips speaks, it helps you in growing further, in climbing the hills and the mountains. And ultimately, the wisdom on the lips can be facilitated from the knowledge on your tips. तो अगर आपको 6% का इंटरेस्ट मिलता है तो कितने साल में आपका पैसा डबल हो जाएगा?
12 years.
12 years. Who said this?
Yes, I am Bhushan. So
Yeah.
I heard about the 72 rules.
Yeah. So
So
you are
divide.
absolutely right, Bhushan ji. It is a rule of 72. You are absolutely right. So I would request Bhushan ji to kindly share this rule with all the participants so that they can understand.
Yeah,
So Bhushan ji, please. Yeah.
Generally it is saying if you want to double your money
Hmm.
and if you are getting some percentage, you simply divide those percentage uh, by 72. So it will indicate the number at what year your money will get doubled.
Yeah, absolutely right, Bhushan. So what does it mean? If it means that I'm getting 8% return in the bank, it will take 9 years to get my money doubled. If I'm putting up 1 lakh rupees in the bank at 8%, it will take 9 years to get my money doubled. If I'm putting up, if I'm getting a return of 24% per year, it will take only 3 years to get my money doubled. So that is the another thumb rule for the financial world. There is one more thumb rule तो नहीं कह सकते, but it is a derived rule actually. Sometimes you are seeing that you are offered loan on two bases. One is your fixed rate and another is your reducing rate. And let us say you are offered a rate of 10% on the fixed basis. You will be getting 10% fixed interest of rate. And the second is 15% reducing rate. Which one is beneficial for you? 10% fixed rate or 15% reducing rate? Which one is beneficial for you? I'm just adding these two because we are not getting any questions. So I just thought, let me share these two thumb rules so that it broadens your financial understanding. So if I'm getting 10% on the fixed rate and 15% on the reducing rate, which one is beneficial? Let us take this as a homework. You calculate it and you will find it that tomorrow I will tell you a simple rule to figure it out which one is beneficial for you. So is there any question from any participants? My intention was to clear the foundation, the basics today. Tomorrow we will be beginning from now we have understood the financial basics. Now we will work upon the solar basics. When I talk about the solar basics, I am talking about the generation, I am talking about the expenses, I am talking about the CUF, capacity utilization factor, I am talking about the performance ratio, and I am talking about the specific yield. And I'm also talking about that if you are involved in any solar power project, you should be able to read the solar power projects. What is DC to AC ratio? As Ranjan ji was mentioning, that DC side is more than the AC side, 30 to 40%. So my intention is not to give you the financial understanding. खाली financial का नहीं करना है. Overall perspective को build up करना है. So that as an engineer, as a manager, as a project advisor, as a consultant, you can read the reports from all the perspective. You can figure out the risk assessment from it, and you know the technical parameters, PR, CUF, specific yield, everything, DC-AC ratio, everything, so that your learning is from holistic perspective and you can contribute not only from the financial side but also from the technical side and also from the perspective of the long running of the project. So if there are any question, then kindly let me know.
Even what I would say, the practice in this, the practice would be required.
Yeah.
If we learn today and tomorrow, if we do not do practice, then there is
Yeah.
no use.
Okay, what I will do, thank you so much. It is also in my mind. So what I will do, I will send a practice sheet to CBIP, and CBIP will circulate to all of you, and kindly practice those questions to get more clarity on the NPV and IRR. And once you do those questions your own self, you can use the calculator, you can use the Excel sheets, then you would be able to get a real grasp of the situation. So I will be sharing a practice sheet with all of you, so that before coming tomorrow, you have a clear understanding of all these things. Yeah, very, very good, valid point. Any other suggestions from any one of you for the which you wish ki koi your point? I'm very flexible. I'm not rigid at all. I accept the feedbacks. I accept the suggestions. My only intention is that all of us should grow and all of us should be able to contribute. So अगर किसी और का कोई suggestion है तो kindly please let me know.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है जो
हाँ.
मैं इसका कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री कर रहा था. फॉर एग्जांपल इसमें जो आप दिखा रहे हैं R1 का जगह पे R2 डाला था 15 एंड देन माइनस किया था NPV 1 में की जगह पे NPV 2 डाला और नीचे डिफरेंस एक्चुअल डिफरेंस में लिया तो अराउंड 13.96 आ रहा है. सो दैट शुड नॉट हैव हैपेंड.
एक बार इसको करके देखना पड़ेगा. व्हाट इज योर गुड नेम?
सर आई एम तुलसीधर.
हाँ, तुलसीधर जी एक बार उसको करके देखना पड़ेगा. दिस इज द स्टैंडर्ड प्रैक्टिस की लोअर साइड से शुरू करते हैं. लोअर साइड जहाँ पे एनपीवी पॉजिटिव होता है और हायर साइड जहाँ पे एनपीवी नेगेटिव होता है. और क्योंकि ये क्लियर होता है कि पॉजिटिव से नेगेटिव में जा रहे हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं बीच में आईआरआर होगा. तो एक बार ही आई हैव नेवर डन इट फ्रॉम दी नेगेटिव टू पॉजिटिव साइड. पॉजिटिव से नेगेटिव साइड पे ही होता है. So I will do it myself also, and then I will get back to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Wonderful, you attempted it, Tulsidhar ji. Wonderful. Any other suggestion? Any other points? Chalo, let us have a very quick revision. So I just wish and request all the participants to be quick on the chat box so that we can have a quick revision. Let us say, I'm just putting up some questions. Let us say there is a project in which NPV is 500. Let us say the initial investment is 10 lakh rupees and the NPV after the 5 years is coming 10,000 rupees. What would be the wealth of the investor? अगर उसका 10 लाख रुपए का इन्वेस्टमेंट है और 10,000 रुपए का NPV आ रहा है तो उसका करंट वेल्थ कितना हो जाएगा? Any answers? So great. So participants have responded that the answer is 10 lakh 10,000 rupees. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay. So the next point is, let us say the investment is 1 lakh rupees and after 25 years, uska jo current NPV aa raha hai, that is 9,000 rupees negative. तो उसका wealth कितना हो जाएगा? The investment is 1 lakh rupees. Investment is 1 lakh rupees and after few years the NPV is minus 9,000. What would be the wealth? Very good, 91,000 rupees. Very good. Okay, great. Let us say if a project is discounted at 10%, एक प्रोजेक्ट को हमने डिस्काउंट किया है 10% पे और उसके बाद उसका NPV 5,000 रुपीज आ रहा है तो एक्चुअल IRR जो है 10% से ज्यादा होगा या कम होगा? इफ इट इज ग्रेटर देन प्लीज टाइप higher. If it is lesser, then please type low. Okay, Varun has mentioned it 10 plus, greater. Great, great, absolutely great, great, more. Now, let us say the project was valued at 1 lakh rupees and NPV is coming at, the project was discounted at 8% and NPV is coming minus 3,000. Now, the IRR is greater than 8% or less than 8%? The NPV is minus 3,000. Great. It would be lesser than, because it is negative NPV. Okay, wonderful. Now, let us say you have given 1,000 rupees to someone. I repeat, please listen this question very clearly. You have given 1,000 rupees to someone and you have discounted your money at 10%. You have discounted your money at 10%. And after 3 years, he gives you 700 rupees. After 3 years, he gives you 700 rupees. So in this particular case, if you are able to buy 10 liters of petrol today, how much liters of petrol you would be able to buy at the third year? 7 liter or still 10 liters? Okay, great. 7 liter it would be. So wonderful participants, I'm very glad that all of you are participating with such great enthusiasm and such great zeal. It is a lot of reciprocation to me. I feel so great when I see the lot of participation from the participants, because it gives me a kind of feel that participants are enjoying, participants are listening, participants are participating for the maximum contribution. And believe me, you are not writing for your own self, you are writing for everyone, because the other peoples are also able to encourage to learn more, participate more. And those who are not written, have not written much responses today, I'm sure they would be participating more tomorrow. With these words, I'm very happy that all of you have joined today. It would be my endeavor to share the maximum of knowledge with you in the next 2 days. Please make sure that you attend these sessions, because there would be recordings available. CBIP would confirm whether the recording would be available or not. But if you participate in the regular sessions, in the timely sessions, you would be definitely more committed to for your learning. Thank you so much to all the participants. Thank you so much to CBIP and our special guest Abhishek Ranjanji today, who enlightened us a lot about the subject and the context. Thank you all the participants for your warm participation, and I'm sure by the end of the third day we would be very clear in the financial modeling of our projects. Thank you so much to all the participants. Thank you. I would be sharing the practice sheet and CBIP would be forwarding it to you. Now we can wind up the session. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Keshav ji, Tulsidhar ji, Biju Krishna ji, Mohammad Nasir ji, Tulsidhar ji, Junaid ji, Mikon, Shirvan Kumar. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now we can wind up this session. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Bye.